Welcome, trendsetters. We are Alicia and Nicole from Positive Image. As salon owners, hairstylists, and business coaches, we're here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of the beauty industry and discover the secrets to creating a thriving salon business. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your salon chair, and let's dive into the world of hair, style, and entrepreneurship together. Welcome back to the Positive Image podcast. So today we are diving into something every salon owner needs to get right. That is payroll. Such an important topic.
Yes, 100% agree. Whether you're just starting to build your team or you're growing fast, understanding how to pay your people properly is key to building trust and staying out of trouble with the infamous CRA. We want to keep them our friends.
Oh my gosh, do we ever? You do not want to be on the bad side of the CRA or IRS or whatever your governing body is where you are. So we're going to walk you through how often to pay, different pay structures, how to handle things like tips, deductions, payroll software, and how to stay compliant. We're here in Ontario, Canada. So have a look at what your governing body is for your taxes and payrolls. But we can only speak about what we know. So we're going to talk about what we have to do here in Ontario.
And of course, you can pause and start this podcast episode or just check out our show notes or our Instagram because we've put together a free cheat sheet for you. So you don't have to remember everything. And you can always replay, download, share our episode a million times. We don't mind. We greatly appreciate.
That will be in the show notes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So first up, how often should you pay your team? In Ontario, the ESA, which is the Employment Standards Act, says that you must pay at least every 16 days. So you could pay either bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or weekly. Most salons stick with bi-weekly because it is simpler.
Whatever you choose, please, please, please stay consistent. Paydays build trust, and trust builds culture. There is nothing worse than not knowing when you're getting paid or just the inconsistency of something as simple as like whether it's Thursday or Friday. And sometimes there's, if you direct deposit, that's not really up to you, but having something clear of just letting people know it's Thursday is your payday every 2 weeks, or if it's the 1st or the 15th, maybe it's every Monday. Whatever it is, decide it, stick to it, be consistent, always pay your employees. Even if things are getting stressful and tight, you always pay people. Always. So
it is so important. I think the building of the trust thing is the most important because if your employees don't trust that you're going to have that paycheck in their account, then how are they going to trust anything that you say?
100%.
From the beginning. So important.
Amazing. So moving into pay structures, there are a few different ways to structure your pay in the salon industry: hourly, commission, and a hybrid model. So there's also, you can also have people that are contractors or chair rentals. So that's a little bit different. Chair renters are going to pay you. Contractors, you're going to pay them. Just keep in mind whether people are actually contractors or employees, and be clear about what that structure is and how that looks.
So if you want a better understanding of the different structures that you can have in the business, you can actually go back to a podcast that we recorded for March 17th, 2025. I think it's season 2, episode 13. And this kind of encompasses the 5 typical ways of which you can have employees or contractors. So just some kind of food for thought. We can also put that in our show notes as well, so for easy access. Another important thing that we haven't touched base on is don't forget about the tips. They come when they come, they often come in either cash or through your own POS system. And you need to be really clear with your team on how these are handled, whether the stylist just keeps their own, if you pool or you split, or you're including the credit card tips within the payroll. You need to read up on the laws on where you're located on tips and what you're responsible for and what you have to do to be compliant.
Amazing. So let's talk about how you're going to pay your employees. Direct deposit is the most professional and secure method. It's not the only method, but it's probably the simplest in the sense of the employee end. And if you use a payroll software. Checks are an option, but they need to be like formal checks that come with a pay stub and it says where this money's coming from and who it's going to. You could do cash, though that's a bit more outdated. We don't want to be doing pay people under the table. That's not very legit and also isn't very secure for you or your employees. So make sure it's trackable, legit, not cash under the table. Direct deposit is best or formal checks. Give them a pay stub with every pay. Be clear, be concise. Allow your employees and contractors to have transparency of what their pay is. Be ready to answer any questions. So you also need to make sure that when you're deciding all these things that you understand yourself how it works for you.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point too, because somebody's like, well, I don't understand why you're doing this and this on my paycheck. And then you're going, well, I don't know. That doesn't really
Me neither.
Yeah, exactly. So, you want to, before you start paying your people, you want to make sure that you're not ripping them off or you're not ripping yourself off too. So understanding
Yeah.
what you have to do is important. And if you are going with the payroll software kind of side of things, most of them or some of them can include a employee portal so that they can just log on and see every paycheck. The one that I use, it just automatically or it emails when they do their pay. So they get their pay stubs automatically emailed to them. Some of the portals you can do your T4s, you can track the vacation and stuff like that. So we're always going to say try and get a software. That's important. So deductions, remitting, and compliance. So this is a pretty big area that you need to understand, especially compliance. So once you've got your pay figured out, then you've got to make the right deductions. And that means CPP, EI, income tax, vacation pay, which is a minimum of 4%, that you can either pay on every single check or when they are on vacation, you pay them the percentage while they're away. So whatever works best for you. And your public holiday pay. And you need to pay the public holiday pay properly. In Ontario, you can check the ESA Act for what the requirements are. And again, you can pay your vacation pay on each check or you can accrual. Is that the word? Accrual?
Accrual, yeah.
You can accrual the 4% on either check and have that in a separate bank account or area that you can just pay out again when they're on vacation, which is nice for the employee. It is, truth be told, it is a bit stressful for the employer because now you're paying out and no money's coming in from that employee. So my advice is to put it on every paycheck. That way you don't have to worry about it. But even how you're doing that, let your employees know of how you're going to be paying them their vacation pay.
It's also easier to have it on each pay because if they don't take those vacation at the end of their employment with you, you owe them their accumulated vacation when they are no longer on their last paycheck when they're leaving your company. The other thing that's good to know is keep in mind where you are that the number of years that they work for you decides the number of how much vacation weeks that they're required to receive from us. So keep that in mind that you need to figure that out and keep track of how many years that they work for you and change that percentage. So 4% works out to 2 weeks. So you'll change the percentage in your system or whatever way you've decided to process your payroll. You will also need to remit all these deductions to the CRA, usually monthly or quarterly. It's similar to your GST or HST filings. You'll need to have this set up in advance through your My Business account with the CRA. Please do this in advance, not the day that you are required to remit, because you will need to get a code from your My Business account and the CRA so that you can remit. You will need all of this information set up far in advance. Please, again, do this in advance so that you are not melting on the day that it is required to be submitted and you don't become late in your payment of remittance. These funds add up fast. I feel like there's been a few TikTok videos of some salon owners in the US being like, I owe $30,000 and I didn't know it. Like, we don't want surprises in our business of money that we owe places because that affects what we thought was our profit. And so just be thorough, ask questions, do these things. If you call a CRA person, they're actually not that awful to talk to. They will tell you information and tell you what you need to do. You must provide a pay stub with each pay, track hours, and respect overtime rules. Again, please be clear, concise. The more effort you put into having all of this process smooth and clear, the less questions you will have from your staff, which saves us time and we can be more productive.
And don't wait till you're audited to get this part right. That's really save your future self some time and hassle and try and get it right before it's too late.
So payroll software, things that will make all of that scary stuff that we just talked about feel way less scary. So to name a few systems that are actually salon friendly, we have WagePoint, Wintax, super simple and affordable. I believe Nicole uses Wintax.
Yep.
There's QuickBooks, or most of your bookkeeping softwares will have a payroll option as well. I honestly even find, so I use Mango Mint as my booking, and they've added a payroll option. I haven't really looked at it. I don't really want to, but there's lots of different options out there for you. There's also specific payroll options like ADP or Payworks. Payworks is what I use personally. It gives you lots of features on the back end, kind of like your own little HR assistant, and does a bunch of stuff for you. I think that's why I like Payworks for myself, is because there's a lot of things that I don't have to do. So I just put in the information. I send them all the money, including my remittance money, and they remit for me. And then they direct deposit and pay my employees for me. And all of my employees have access to a back end portal that they can see all of their T4s and all of their pay stubs and all of the information that I submitted to create that pay stub.
I use the Wintax, and there is a little bit more work that I have to do on my end, where I do the remittances and the software does all the deductions, but I'm the one that has to go in there and take all the numbers and submit it to the government, do the direct deposit myself. So where I'm saving on some financial stuff, I have to do the work, where ADP, Payworks, and stuff like that are a bit more expensive, but you're doing less work. So there is a kind of like a little tit for tat here. I think at the end of the day, like whatever you choose, make sure that it can handle the remittances, your ROEs, your event T4, you get the reports, that it also sends out the wage slips, pay stubs to your team as well.
Some salon specific tips for you. Make sure you understand the difference between employees and contractors. So again, I feel like the most simplest way of saying this, if you're telling your contractor when they need to be there, what their hours are, they're not a contractor, they're an employee. Anytime you require someone to be at a place of business at a specified time, they're they're an employee. Now you can say business hours are from this time to this time, so you're welcome to set your own schedule within those hours. That's not the same thing as setting their hours. Setting their hours is telling them when they must start, when they can finish, when they're allowed to leave and go home. So think about that. There are still things that you are required to deduct in Ontario for chair rentals as well as contractors. So keep that in mind. Again, check your ESA laws and just be a bit more thorough. Ask questions. Those are a bit more nuanced. So sometimes when you call CRA to ask those questions, they're not always clear, but somebody's got an answer for you. For students, if you're hiring students aged 18 or less and working less than 28 hours a week, you can offer them a different minimum wage. Again, check out the rules and follow the laws. I think this is very key when onboarding. You want to collect key onboarding docs. So that's your SIN number, your direct deposit information, your contract information, photo ID, and license information if they are a licensed hairstylist already. If they work somewhere else or have already worked somewhere else that year, it may be useful to collect a TD1 form. So that's just a matter of you have your basic tax information of what's going to be deducted. But if someone's also receiving income from somewhere else, then it may make that they end up paying more at the end of the year. So they may request to have more tax taken off their pay so that they don't get messed up at the end of the year when they have to pay back income tax. So keep that in mind. And another thing that I think is interesting, and I also think it's really interesting for salon owners right now, I don't know if it's specific to Ontario, but to be sure that they are eligible to work in Ontario or Canada or whatever area you are. So requesting that SIN number, or if they have a work permit, making sure that they actually are eligible. And if they're not, that they need to figure that out. And you have to pause on hiring them until they figure that out.
Well, and I think even with a work permit too, making sure that, because I think some work permits only allow them to work in certain fields too. So if they do have a work permit, make sure that they are eligible to work it as whatever you need them, whatever you're hiring them for. So that's a really important point. And again, not something that people, I think of really.
Yeah.
So don't wait to the year end to think about T4s. Keep it clean from the start because they are a lot of work. So again, having a salon software program is really important to make sure that you have all of this information, really important. And kind of a side note with the SIN, the direct deposit, the contracts information, you need to also make sure that where you're keeping this information is secure as well. If somebody else got a hold of this information, you could be liable because you didn't keep that information secure. So talk to a lawyer or your accountant on the best way to keep all of this information secure for yourself and for your employees as well.
That's great information.
Yeah. Okay. So this is it's your payroll 101. Make sure that you grab that free cheat sheet in the link in the show notes or on our Instagram. It is such a good reference for your office or back room or wherever you keep your references.
And if you're still unsure about your setup, reach out to us. Like we always say, we are happy to help. We're here for you. We can guide you with a payroll process that works for you and your team. You can shoot some ideas off of us of what your situation is, because maybe there's something you didn't think about. We're happy to answer. And let's keep our salons legit. Woohoo!
Yes, exactly. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Take this knowledge and just keep developing yourself. And hey, we want to hear from you too. Join the conversation using our hashtag #PositiveImagePodcast. Share your thoughts, questions, and success stories. Who knows, we might just feature you on an upcoming episode. Don't keep us a secret. Tag your friends too. Want to keep learning? Check out our show notes. Find us on Instagram at hello.positiveimage and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode filled with inspiration and insights.